Hello, welcome to another Quizzy Monday. And after last week's mammoth show, I'm going to do my very best to keep us on track, moving rapidly, and not indulging our favourite pastime of talking to fascinating quiz contestants for way too long. We are going to keep this show moving, and so I'm doing that and starting that by just waffling on. So let's get cracking with a few bits and bobs from All Things Quiz and the World of Quiz. First things first, our announcement is this. There you go. That says it all. The World Quiz Awards are back, and you can now nominate people in a whole raft of categories, some of which will then be voted on by the great viewing public, some of which will be decided by an expert panel. But there are fantastic opportunities to celebrate the very best in quizzing, and nominations are open now. And you've got about 2 weeks to get your nominations in. So that's the first piece of news. Look out for that. We will be banging on about that going forward. Don't forget, you can put comments in the chat. We've got Catherine saying evening. Gerard, evening for the one person too busy trying to answer questions to notice if somebody is touching their hair. I don't know. Well, that's about Tim. We haven't seen you for a while, Tim. Last on the show, I think, last time. And Ed, evening, looking forward to another 5-hour marathon. It won't be a marathon, I promise you. Coming up, well, here's a few bits and bobs. We've been doing these shorts after each episode, trying to give some nice, interesting clips from the shows and hopefully encourage people to watch the recording. So look out for those in your YouTube Shorts feed. And Christmas is coming up, so don't forget you can go to tinyurl.com/ATQ store and get yourself a Merry Quizmas t-shirt or mug. All proceeds from that go to help support running the channel. The winner of What Is the Question last week? Well, the answer was South. The winner was this question by Dave McBrien, as voted for by you. The Yugo in Yugoslavia and the Nam in Vietnam both translate as which English word? Well done, Dave. This week's answer in need of a question is Edinburgh. We released that on Sunday morning, and you can now vote at the long list where there's approaching 30 questions, I think. 34, I'm told, about that. And now you can vote on the long list. And on Wednesday, we'll release the short list to try and find a winner. So that's tinyurl.com/WITQ Edinburgh. And don't forget, each day we have lunchtime quiz time on Facebook and Twitter. This is today's question: which Nigerian author published his first novel, Things Fall Apart, in 1958, before publishing No Longer at Ease, Arrow of God, and Man of the People, and Anthills of the Savannah? If you know that, you're the sort of person who might enjoy lunchtime quiz time. And then later on in the day, we post some additional information just to give you a bit more context and stuff to know. So there we go. There's a few things coming on in the world of quiz, in the world of all things quiz. We are going to be talking to some guests from Only Connect tonight. Then later on, we'll be looking at Mastermind and the latest scores from Mastermind prediction competition. We'll be looking at University Challenge, and we could be giving you news from the world of quiz, including nominations for Quiz of the Week and Team of the Week. So here we go. Let us bring on Lewis. Welcome back, Lewis. Hello, this time in co-host mode, not contestant mode. Good to have you back. And we've got, from the Gardeners, we've got Kate. And from the Isotopes, we've got Matilda and Sanjay. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Well, Kate, alas, this is the end of the road for the Gardeners. Alas.
What
how
a
was
surprise when I watched it.
Snuck up on you. How was it for you watching it back?
I was really surprised how much I'd forgotten, because it wasn't really all that long ago, really. But I'd forgotten virtually everything about the whole show. So it was quite fun to watch it. Lots of the questions, I still couldn't remember what the answers were.
It was one of those shows. Lewis, what was your take on it watching it?
They probably need a better question editor. Was my main one. I thought there was absolute nonsense this evening, and it was ridiculous. 5 questions dead. These are great teams. They were great. They proved they were great. They had some great answers, and they were delightful throughout. But some of the questions I think shouldn't have got past first draft stage. It was a weird episode.
Yeah, I mean, Sanjay and Matilda, while you're in the midst of playing it, are you aware, are you kind of making judgments about the questions, or are you just thinking, oh my God, we must be just being thick today?
I think we had the worst hangover I can remember having, so probably the latter.
Matilda, so what was it, the hangover kicking in, or do you think you could have done better?
I think we probably would have done better if we hadn't gone out the night before.
Nonetheless, you ended up with a nice win. They've got a question here, Matty, and I don't think people watching always appreciate when shows are filmed. How long ago was it filmed?
It's end of May, right?
Yeah, it was during that heat wave at the end of May.
Wow. So people kind of make an assumption that if it's on their TV, then maybe it's been filmed in the last couple of days. Very much not in this case. I mean, round one, we did have some questions go dead, but we also did have some nice ones answered. But surprise of the night for Victoria was not recognizing Sarah Duchess of York. Now,
I genuinely thought she would edit out the her to and fro with Angus about it being kind of like willful ignorance, but that made the cut.
But I mean, I guess she kind of enjoyed that. But partly, how much of that is due to your experience in studio and what you can actually see?
We had a problem in the last game, right, where we couldn't really see what the picture was. What was it? It was a dumbwaiter. And we thought it was like a cabinet or something. Yeah. So we can blame that a little bit, but yeah, faces are not my strong suit.
I didn't know who Sarah Lancashire was.
No.
Still don't.
Cue somebody in the chat to go, you've never watched Happy Valley? Sorry, Kate.
I was just going to say I was confused because I was thinking of her as Sarah Ferguson, and so Ferguson wasn't ever going to be an opposite of anything, and it was like I didn't really get it. I did.
No, watching it back, I was like, Sarah Fergus daughter? That's not a thing.
Yeah, and also thinking of that, the first one, he's not Stephen Mook King.
No.
Steve, it's fun. It's a fun idea. Newman Oldman, lovely stuff.
I also thought the picture of Gary Oldman was Richard Herring. So that threw me.
It was the hair, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And we had a very nice music question, which Gardeners fell to you, but the Isotopes managed to pick up. Lewis, coming back to your point about kind of the question construction, that whole there's a bit where it says stop somewhere in the middle of the song. I mean, there is, but again, how satisfying was that for you?
Yeah, that's it. I think satisfaction is the big thing with these, and I think particularly on this show, a really good question is one that either makes you go, "Oh yeah," or afterwards you're like, "Ah yeah." But with this, it was very much like, well, okay, sure, I believe you. Like those songs all had it in. But the satisfaction wasn't quite there, and there was just quite a few like that tonight, which I thought I don't know how I thought the Yodel. I was delighted that the Isotopes got 3 points on it, but I just thought it was a pretty weak question to be like, oh, they're just doing the letters in the word yoga.
Yeah,
it just seemed a little bit too simple, that one, I think, maybe. And there was a few things where I was just like, and then stuff that was overcomplicated. I thought it was a weird night, I think.
Oh, we've got our guest. There's nothing we like better than a cat showing its bum live on screen. That'll bring the crowds flooding back. But hello. Andrew's saying, felt bad for the teams being too specific with the Royals at the Olympics. That's one of the arts, isn't it, of Only Connect, is kind of giving enough for Victoria to think, yes, you're in the ballpark, and tease a bit more out of you. But you kind of both fell into that trap.
That That was definitely a hangover symptom. Was just repeating the exact same answer. Real bad quiz etiquette there, but yeah.
We were leading you up the garden path there, weren't we? It
was a tactic.
I just saw the thing about Princess Anne, and I was like, oh, it's got to be royals, you know.
Yeah, and then just going a little.
It was a weird one though, again, because I think we've seen that sort of stuff given before. You clearly had worked it out, right? It wasn't. There was nothing too different in saying that they'd won a medal rather than they'd competed. It's not like, often one team maybe will be given a bit of advantage, the other team will give advantage. It's not like advantage was denied before that, or that came up afterwards. It was just sort of, again, weird. I thought, why not go, or sort of say, give me less, something like that, to try and force you towards the point. It seemed another odd one this evening.
Yeah,
I mean,
we were wrong.
That just...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were robbed.
I mean, fundamentally,
you couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah, fundamentally, you were robbed.
As good sports, we didn't get the answer right.
Yes, you declined to take the.
You were robbed too, Sanjay. You were robbed as well.
But is this a function of the stage of the competition that we're in now? Whereas, in the first round or in one of the rounds where a team can come back, then being a little bit generous to one, you've got a bit of latitude, perhaps be generous to another. And actually, if you don't get that opportunity, it doesn't matter. Whereas within this round, if you give a bit of generosity to a team that's kind of, over-described the answer, then that could decide who stays and who goes. Maybe they just play safe. I don't know.
Maybe.
What have we got? Constantine II of Greece and Mark Phillips will be gutted to miss out on being in that question, especially as they both did win gold medals. Well, that's probably why they were left out. And Pam, if they hadn't put the dates in, she could have accepted it, but it didn't match Monaco, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, 3-2 after that first round. Gardeners, you did get that distance between places with the same names question. I think that was the highest scoring point of the game. And the Hungry Hippos was a nice one at the end as well, Sanjay and Matilda. Just because Procedure, Claw Frantically, and Commander Supply were leading me nowhere. Was that a classic penny drop moment?
Well, I think for Angus, yeah, he turned around.
He seemed delighted.
I know it.
He seemed really delighted.
That's what he's like.
Everybody loves Hungry Hippos. When we go into the next round, again, Lewis, it kind of starts off with what you were talking about. Again, a couple of questions that go dead.
3 X's. I thought that first one was maybe the worst one of the night. Like, it's so who cares or knows that particularly that's the musical that's won 10 Oscars? It just seems very arbitrary and like uninteresting. I like my film stuff. That's probably my best subject in quiz. But that, it would only have been a guess. I wouldn't have been coming down, yeah, it's definitely this, which I think is not a great question. You can see their musicals, you can see the numbers going up, you can guess that it's to do with awards, but it just seemed, a little bit arbitrary. And then I thought I quite liked the conceit of the Dragon's Den one, but I think there was just a level of overcomplication about it, and it took me a while to go, yeah, what does Peter Jones do? And did you guys guess something to do with the planes because he always gets off a plane in the opening of the show? Like, I thought, yeah, that's the only thing I've ever seen him do. Yeah, only Manatine has a company that has his name in that people go to. That you can go, oh yeah, that's what he does. I thought, just maybe. I'm sure the information is there. I'm sure they mentioned it on the program, but it just seemed like there's a good idea for a sequence here, longest running dragons or something. But there was probably a way of making it a little bit more accessible and gettable.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I know about Peter Jones, apart from the fact he's tall, is he's got a dog and he invested in some sort of pooper scooper, and that's about it. And I don't think, if it had been things that dragons had invested in, reggae sauce and stuff like that, maybe that would have, maybe wouldn't have been around 2 sequences.
Could be around 1.
But I guess, contestant Kate, Matilda, Sanjay, when questions are going dead, again, at that point, is the game feeling like a slog, or is it still feeling fun at that point?
I was just thinking we must just be really stupid because everybody knows the answers and we don't.
Yeah, really bad at keeping like point scores, just sort of trying not to do anything too embarrassing. Really?
Yeah.
I'm failing.
I mean, the point at which I felt thick was clap, 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 member of MBLAQ, which I had to look that up after the show to work out what MBLAQ is, and yeah, that's just me being old. But that they're apparently a K-pop band. But I still am not entirely sure I understand what what that question was. Some sort of clapping game. Does that make sense to you, Lewis? Anybody? I mean, can somebody explain?
When they said it afterwards, and they said, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a thing, but I didn't really know.
Angus tried to explain it to me, and I was just like, how does it fit the
acronym? I thought they were all just a little bit. I'm glad you got points. It was a really good to end the round on a 2, a 3, and a 3 was really good after 3 answers. I thought. Yeah. I thought that Roald Dahl one was weird as well, because clearly there's 2 books that no one's ever heard of, and then it's a book we've all heard of, and then it's guessing which one of his other books it might be. That's basically what that one boils down to. Even if you get onto the link, it just didn't seem inherent. Great guesses by the teams. Particularly Angus's absolutely fabulous. The movie I thought was a very funny choice. It was glad it picked up a bit of steam as we went into the walls.
Yeah, I was happy that the both teams got a nice answer just before the walls. The month's missing consonants. That is a classic question where we've seen that sort of thing go dead, and then everybody go, "Oh, it's blindingly obvious" when you see it, but you saw it quite nice and early.
We should have gone for the very first one, because Louise knew that after the first one. But I think we were just thinking that's really embarrassing if it isn't that. So
I was really worried you were going to talk yourselves out of it, Kate. There seemed to be too much discussion, and then I think one of you said, "We've got time, we can talk about it." And I was like, okay, maybe good, hopefully. But I was just worried that you're going to veer off or take an extra clue. I was really pleased when you finally got it.
No, I think I was just having a bit of a senior moment, and I knew what the answer was, but my brain just wouldn't compute. So that's when I was glad I got young people in the team who could just say, "Just shut up, we know what we're talking about."
And Isotopes, how does that kind of leap of inspiration happen from your side with the yoga pictures? Because to me it was like, well, that's not handstands, it's probably a headstand, but I wasn't looking at what the legs were doing. I definitely wasn't thinking that's a yoga pose. That's just the sort of thing people used to show off on their dating profiles on Tinder. So for me, I was nowhere near it. How did that one kind of jump out at you so quickly?
Don't really know. It's kind of instinct sometimes, right? Like you just look at it, you're like, oh yeah. There was a bit afterwards that my partner was quite upset they got cut out, because I was like, oh, you get a shout out, because Victoria asks if we ever do any yoga, and I kind of stumble through saying that it's really hard. My partner does loads of it, which clearly wasn't a very natural conversation.
Chris Dyson thought it was YMCA. That would have been a dangerous one to go 4 and 5.
Still would have been the same final answer though.
Yeah, good point.
Actually, wouldn't it? So yes, would have got the points. I mean, what goes through your mind in terms of gambling? We've heard kind of certainly from UK about you could have gone for it sooner or whatever, but are you weighing up that risk reward ratio whilst you're in the studio under the lights?
I think you are, but probably not in a very clear-headed way, because the time is ticking, and there's 3 of you all trying to think independently and at the same time as well. So, I mean, obviously you try, but whether you do it successfully, I don't know. I think maybe we did it just about right then, but before then we've maybe waited too long because we're frightened of looking really stupid.
How much of that sort of fear of looking stupid did you have, Matilda and Sanjay?
A lot. I think it's why I didn't actually say much throughout the series. I just whisper to Sanjay. And when I do speak, I try and get words out, and it doesn't happen. Like on the wall when I was trying to explain what the warp thread is. I was like, it's a thing in fabric that goes up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, when that happened and there was like the camera zoomed in your face, I was like, she's going to hate this. You got it right.
Well, let's move to the wall then, because you were up first, and you had a small lead going into it. So your ideal is to get your 10 points to make sure you've got a lead carrying on. But first up, there were loads of terms related to space one way or another. I mean, there was a lot of red herrings.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I think we ended up just cycling, and then it was again kind of bad wall technique where we sort of flop through a few different groups and then finally just start going through the space ones. Probably could have done it more efficiently, but
Can you explain the NK, because I might be being thick on this? What's space NK? Is this another young person's thing?
It's a high-end skincare, makeup, cosmetic store.
Right. Okay. That's fine. That's my excuse for not knowing it.
Clearly,
but I am always told I don't moisturize enough.
Gareth.
Sorry. So what's that,
making
Lewis?
enough money from this channel.
Certainly not to go to a shop I've never heard of. If it's not in Tesco's, then it doesn't happen. And Tesco's, if you'd like to sponsor the channel, free. But yeah, just lost my place. So yeah, going through, you picked up the space, the weaving terms. Again, you knew that was in there somewhere from quite early on. I think bobbin. I'm not sure what else bobbin can be unless it's like guys' names or something. And then, but the really nice spot, because again there was another set of red herrings, was the Agatha Christie characters. And so whoever it was that spotted that maple is in marple and poplar is in popular, that was for me the key to unlocking the rest of that wall. Sanjay and Matilda, how did that happen?
I don't think there's any method to it. It just sort of clicks. I wish I had something more insightful to say. You just go, oh, there it is.
To be honest, we didn't really know the last group. It's a case of just put what you think is in, but that's happened the last couple of walls we've done.
Try and really, really slow down what you're saying so that people can figure out the last group.
you played that really well on the tactic, and it's sometimes it is just that you've got one thing, or you've got one thing and a red herring that you've already used up, and that's what you can go off.
Yeah,
and I thought you did exactly the right thing to go for it, and I was really happy when we got the points.
Yeah. I mean, you came out with the 10 points. I mean, Poirot, unless it was a wordplay thing, was only ever going to be Agatha Christie characters, but you never know. There could be somebody else called Poirot that's a famous physicist or something, and then you get caught out. But 10 points, well done. Gardeners, of course, are oblivious that the Isotopes have aced that wall, but you do know you're 3 points behind, so you know you can't really afford to let any more points slip. Talking of the kind of what Sandra was saying about giving yourself enough time for things to kind of to appear to you, to reveal themselves to you, the French towns being spotted right at the death was an absolutely glorious example of a team that has used every attosecond of time available to get to an answer. Because the rest of the wall you worked through quite, methodically, quite professionally, but you just didn't know that Venice pregnancy, Julian, Charles connection, and then somehow the penny dropped.
Yeah, I think that was Louise's big moment where she just suddenly saw it, because we were all standing there going, I have no idea, I can't think of any connection whatsoever. And maybe it was blindingly obvious for everybody else, and she just said it, and it applied to sort of 2 of them. We were like, yes, go, brilliant. It was really good. But we got caught out because we thought we'd spotted the Shakespearean things and put them in, and then of course we were wrong with one of them because it was one extra. I can't remember, but
because Venice was in your French towns one, so that was sneaky.
And so I think we were a bit taken aback then because we thought we knew what they were and had wasted a lot of time, and then we were wrong, and it was like, what do we do now? But it worked out okay in the end.
Yeah, you did a really good job. I thought it was really, it was a really great wall. I thought one of the best that I remember seeing in a while. And anytime you get to flex on your Shakespeare and your EastEnders at the same time, I think that's shows a varied team there. Great knowledge.
Yeah. And having, you know, Adam, again, a bit like Poirot, unless it's a wordplay one, Woodyat is only going to be Adam Woodyat. So, you know, what has he done apart from EastEnders? I can't really think of it. He's probably done something like Dancing on Ice or I'm a Celeb, but I don't know. So then it is about finding people. But then Layla Morse is not an obvious one to throw into that mix. So yeah, you got your 10 points. Ed is talking about the wall technique, and Cockle connections on like Quiz League. It's always a case of deliberately remembering, oh yeah, there's always a silly wordy one. Is there one here too? So both teams, did you have that kind of thought process of when you get stuck, you know, have we tried a wordplay one? Have we tried the before something or after something kind of thing?
Yeah, that's normally my go-to, but that's typically because my like knowledge is very shallow. So that's kind of what I can figure out.
And in our team, Louise is the one who spends the whole time looking at words. She doesn't try and find any other connections. She just does the word things.
Nice. Well, as long as people have got their roles, then that's good, isn't it? Because then, if they're good at those, and you know, when I played Cockle, you know, there'd be somebody who'd be good at anagrams, so that's the thing they would be looking at, and we'd have, we'd kind of assign people different things. Chris is probably in the chat. We were on the same team for a while, so we would assign responsibilities to look at those. So you go into the missing vowels, 16, 15. So as you were before the walls, so it was critical you both solved those walls. I guess Isotopes having the lead, you kind of feel you've got a little bit of a buffer, but did you have any sense of how well you'd have to play to beat the Gardeners?
I think we were neck and neck going to the previous game and came away on the losing side by quite a big margin. So I don't think you can really take it for granted.
And Kate, you're chasing 3 points again. Do you have enough time as a team to think, you know, let's just go hell for leather on this?
I think it's just risky to go hell for leather because you could just lose so many points, and then you know the other team will get the point. So I think we probably hesitated too much, and we've always done relatively poorly on the missing vowels in the show. I think because we seem much quicker at home than in the show. Outclassed by the other team every time.
I think momentum's quite a big thing as well, right? You want to get one on the board, and then you know you sort of get a bit of a head of steam.
Which is what you guys did with the sustainable transport merged with musical artists, which I thought had some absolute doozies in there. I think we might have been critical of some of the earlier questions, but there was
they were fun, and I thought they were hard, but everyone did such a good job. On all of them. I think Angus got a couple right where I was like, just had to applaud. They were so good.
I'm sitting next to him, just being like, okay, fair.
It's so good when there's somebody on your team that is just, you know, that they're in there like a shot, whilst you you might pick up 1 or 2, but they're the ones getting in there and picking up. I don't know, was it Electric Cardi B? Was that Gardeners? Was that yours? Can't remember.
That was Angus, I think.
That was Angus. Electric.
And Bendy Buster Rhymes.
Right. That was just. I did love those, and you know, and there was a little bit like after the Lord Mayor's show with firefighters, because it was just kind of, I don't know. I mean, Lewis, what's the ideal positioning of the fun set?
I do think it's better when the fun one is last. I think, you know, it's nice to build up to it. And if they're going to have one that's a little bit more plain, like just firefighters, I think you normally have that at the start. But they did have the Cuthbert Dibble and Grub answer, which made it a bit more fun. I really enjoyed the black and white and red all over as well, which was, you know, obviously led to an amazing moment right at the end with Parrot, Newcastle Parrot, which is a brilliant image.
As well. I mean, I think it's only 1 letter difference or something, and she could have got it, but anyway. Parrot is a much better than support.
It's a much better. It's a beautiful image, Kate. I think, you know, we've all imagined a beautiful image this evening because of it, which is great. I know, obviously, Pam is very upset about the idea of Parrot covered in ketchup. I'm sure she'll tell us in the comments shortly. But yeah, I thought that was really fun. But yeah, maybe when the other 2 groups were such fun, it was kind of okay to have the more plain one in the middle.
but it really made little difference because the Isotopes, you were Polly Parrot was worried, says Pam. Yes, because the Isotopes were just on it, really. 3 in the first set, 3 in the second, 2 in the final set. Put a little bit of pressure on the Gardeners. Those couple of mistakes meant that, what looked an uphill task became kind of near impossible, particularly when, you got the opposition on such fine form. And 16-26 to me did not feel like the difference between the teams.
No way.
It was, and it's, I don't know. Sometimes missing vowels can kind of distort what the result, what the true difference was.
Especially when you lose a point for getting a wrong answer, and you have to go for it, which Gardeners, you had to do that, and you're unlucky. I was really hoping you'd get that Waylon Jennings one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Halfway through that, I think we thought we've just got to go for everything now because we're definitely going to lose, so we might as well just go.
Yeah. You just might find it.
It could have worked, but it didn't.
Yeah, you did exactly the right thing.
Yeah, might as well be hung for a sheep as for a lamb, as what my mum would say. Not that she's ever endorsed rustling of any kind. But it's what parents say. So yeah, Isotopes, you live to fight another day. You're into the quarterfinals. Kate, Gardeners go home. But how was the experience for yourself and the team?
Oh, we loved it. We had a ball. It was fabulous. I wish I could go back every season and have a go. It was lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that feeling.
I think you've got a really good. I think you are such a fun team, and they do love family teams. I think you've got a real good shout of being back soon. I hope.
Yeah, you just need another family team with a sort of occupation surname, and the Gardeners and the Butchers or something, and that could happen. But talking about that as a family team, that's different from like a group of friends. What does playing together with family? What does that bring you together? I mean, what's that like?
Oh, definitely. But I mean, for me, I got to spend a whole weekend with my girls. I mean, how can that? Can't do better than that. I don't mind what I'm doing, and if I'm doing that and quizzing at the same time, I mean, brilliant, can't be better. Awesome. I don't mind win, lose, whatever. It was just brilliant to spend the whole weekend with them. Fabulous.
Wonderful. Are we likely? Oh, here we are. Hang on. I'm a Mason. I'll ask around my family, says Ed. Are we likely to see yourself or any of the other Gardeners on TV in the near future, Kate? Has this given you a taste for it?
Most things aren't team games, are they? And I like the whole teamy thing. I wouldn't want to go as an individual, I don't think. So maybe another team thing if there was something like that. But otherwise, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap up. Final thoughts on tonight's episode. What your champagne moment was, your favourite question, answer, bit of banter with Victoria. What was your favourite moment? Sanjay, what was your top part of the show?
For me, just sort of sat there in awe at Angus getting ridiculous vowels. Just so proud of him.
Excellent. We love ridiculous vowels. Matilda, how about you?
Yeah, same as Sanjay. It was just Angus's whole performance in that episode.
Brilliant. Kate?
Am I allowed 2? I'm going to give you 2.
Go on. Yeah, go on. You have 2.
The bit where Louise spotted the French towns, because that made a whole difference between getting 10 or getting 7. And it was just so last minute. That was really cool. And I did love that when Anna shouted out about the parrot, because it just made us laugh. So it was nice to feel a bit of a laugh, really.
Brilliant. Lewis, what was your highlight?
I am going to go for, because I don't think I've ever seen it before, that Victoria introduced you all by sort of suggesting you are fun and interesting and nice people, which might be a first in the history of the show. So I think you should all be very proud of that. That's a real badge of honour.
Yeah, awesome. I don't know what my favourite moment was. I think it might have been that spotting the French towns at the death, judging by my notes because I put it in capital letters. So I must have wanted to remember that. I did like the music one, even with the kind of spurious stop thing, just because it's one of the rare things where I recognised every single song, and that doesn't always happen in Only Connect music rounds. But it was just great to watch you two teams again. Really enjoyable. John Violet says, bring the gardeners back with the Forest family.
Yeah.
There you go. Gardeners and Forest.
That's a good fit.
Begging to happen.
Great teams.
And Catherine is a little bit more tenuous. Burkett means dweller by the birch-covered headland. So that's our family out of the occupations. You're more a dweller, not a worker. Thanks so much
if somebody
for coming on.
Put a word in for us, we'll turn up. Put in a good word with the producers, and we'll turn up anytime.
We'll do some tweets. We'll start a campaign.
Yeah. It starts now. Kate, we're sorry to see you go, but thanks for entertaining us over recent weeks and the matches that you've played. We've really enjoyed watching you and the team. So
thank you,
thank you
and good luck, Isotopes. I hope you go far. I know you know what you're going to do, so good luck.
Thank you.
And Isotopes, we get to see you again in the quarterfinals, so that'll be exciting when we get back to matches where teams haven't played each other already, which will be a nice novelty to have. So, maybe not. What's this? Bye, lovely teams, says Pam. Oh, Pam. Yeah. They were indeed both lovely tonight, and that's we say it every single year. That and bring back Ask the Family, says Chris. we say it every single week. The teams are just so great this series. Brilliant casting, very entertaining to watch, and we get to watch Isotopes again. So Matilda, Sanjay, thanks for coming on, and congratulations on winning through to the quarterfinals. We look forward to seeing that match.
Thanks for having
us.
Now,
we are going to move on to talk about Mastermind and the Mastermind competition, and we'll catch up on the predictions and all of that. So at that point, we'll say goodbye to those of you who are leaving us, and we'll be back very shortly. So goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, so we are done with our Only Connect folk. They were lovely.
Lovely.
It was a bit of an odd episode in terms of,
you know, 5 out of 12 questions in the first 2 rounds going dead. It's just not ideal. It's not. I don't think it was the team's fault. That's that's what it's about. But they were so lovely. It didn't matter really. They really shone through. Really nice teams, and can't wait for. We're going into the quarters now, so very exciting.
Indeed. Well, yes, we'll look forward to who they play. So Mastermind tonight. These were our predictions. New York subway system. I said on Twitter that this seemed like a huge subject. Boy, the world's largest subway system, I think. And the chap, he ended up winning, Scott Torrance. But
yes,
he did it the hard way, because this turned out to be a really difficult subject for him.
Yeah, and he was clearly giving good answers. I don't know about the subject, but you can tell when someone offers something which they think it might be, or is close, in sound or shape, to the actual answer that Clive then gives. But yeah, you're right. It's just such a massive thing to learn. Respect for him doing that. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting show tonight, I thought, Gareth, and it really boiled down to the one rule of Mastermind, which we'll get to.
Yes.
But I thought a really interesting and varied set of questions here, which was really nice to see.
Yeah, the Ocean's films, again, bringing in the old Ocean films, which was interesting.
That was rogue. Yeah, I really didn't
yeah.
expect that. I would, I'd have liked to have done this subject myself, and I did it quite well, luckily. But I wouldn't have wanted to do the 1961, and I probably wouldn't have even wanted to do Ocean's 8 because it's poor. But it's just not very good. It's got James Corden, not very good. But the three were very good, and I think Pamela did really, really well on getting all the minutiae out. There was some really small lines, small references, stuff that's only seen on screen very quickly that she answered correctly. It was really good.
Yeah, the only thing she missed was St. Petersburg, which was it a town in Florida or something that's referenced?
Yeah, where Carl Reiner's at the horse track.
Yeah, and Perry Como from the original film. So, yes, it was 10 points was a very good performance by her on that, I think. I guess the one thing you have in your favor when you do a set of films is that everything is limited to what you're seeing on screen or whoever's in the credits and things like that. You can't really get asked about anything else. So it's, in a way, unlike the Subways questions, this is very contained. The Subways weren't, and I think you saw the benefit of that for her. Nicola on Easter Rising. Now, so we did have some points on the Ocean's films. We did have some points on the Easter Rising. We'll have to double check, so if anybody needs to put in any appeals once we release the scores, then please do, because sometimes we're hearing sort of Gaelic names and we're not entirely sure, but we think we got it right. Easter Rising, she got 6. She was struggling on that as well.
But again, clearly knew her stuff. It was not. It was just sometimes the questions don't fall in the way that you want to. I was glad, particularly the last one. She sort of seemed dejected as she gave the answer, and I thought she must be wrong with it, but she was right. It was just one of those sets.
Yeah, I think looking at it, I think every question she got wrong was a person's name, and I think with an event like that, she got 5 wrong. And when there are so many people involved doing so many things, kind of, in different places at different times, keeping track of who did what is really tricky. And I think that's where she kind of fell foul of it. She picked up pretty much everything else, and she did get that lovely question at the end about the truce so the guy could feed the ducks, which I thought was a lovely fact. So that was great. And then we had the Donna Tartt set where he got the first question wrong, which is not what you want when you're in the chair, but it was followed up by the Carol Fabricius one, which was one of the most popular guesses by our predictors, and lo and behold came up because the Goldfinch is named after a painting by him. Why wouldn't it
happen? Sure.
Hampden College was that first question. So if our predictors were predicting Hampden College would come up, I don't know, perhaps maybe it caught him, the phrasing caught him flat-footed.
Maybe it's just the first question and you need to shake it off, but he did shake it off, Damien, having a really good round, I thought.
He did, yeah. So 6-10, 6-9. So advantage Pamela and Damien. And then we were treated to a really, really strong, and as it turned out, match-winning general knowledge round from Scott.
Yeah, huge.
We picked up 13, and there aren't that many there. You can, you think necessarily he should have picked up on top of that. I mean, Southwestern City, he made a plausible guess.
Yeah.
Mary Had a Little Lamb. I think that was just unfortunate. That's the pressure of time. Not Miriam Margolyes, Juliana Margolyes, very different people.
Very different actresses. I found his GK the easiest set. I got 15 on his compared to 12, 11, and 10 for the others. But he still had to play it. And I mean, I don't know, I wish we kept really deep stats for this sort of stuff, but it's not often that you see the player in a clear last place, 4 or 5 points behind leader. At the end of special subject, come back and take the win, even in the circumstances that we had tonight. He had to play it, and he did a really good job. It was a really good performance.
It was. I mean, there were a number of people who were commenting that they felt that I think it was it Nicola? Nicola got a very hard general knowledge set, and by comparison, potentially it was. But he just put away everything quite easily. Things like Potable, Parsec, stuff like that.
Yeah, he was making confident choices, even if they were guesses. You wouldn't know. He was just coming up with something each time, and more often than not, they'll pay off.
And as you alluded to it earlier, and Ed has put, getting my Gandalf voice ready for the Mastermind 1 rule: "Thou shalt not pass," and that was the crux. 3 players finishing on 19 points.
It kind of felt inevitable, I thought. Like, there was a point where Pamela, going last, only needing 10 to get the win, made a couple passes, and I went, this is going to be a 3-way tie at the top and be decided on the passes. And so it was. I was really hoping that she'd just get that extra question when she had that extra space for that question in on the last question. I was like, okay, yeah, she'll get this one now that the time has gone. But no, it was a hard one with I think sciences was the answer, which I certainly wouldn't have got. So it was. It was just the passes were the difference, and funny how it falls sometimes. I'd be so annoyed at myself because it's completely in your control if that's the situation. If you're losing on the pass rule, throw out a name. There was a couple, wasn't there? There was one where someone answered something that was clearly not right, and they knew it wasn't right, but they were just getting a name. Maybe it was when Nicola was on her one. Oh yeah, like she said Constance Markowitz, but I'm pretty. If she's doing that subject, she surely isn't thinking that Constance Markowitz was the person who did that.
Yeah,
whatever it was a criminal of some sort, or whatever it was. So but throw a name out. Even it doesn't have to be the correct answer. Throwing a name out is always better.
Yeah.
If I was Damien and Pamela, I'd be ruining my chance there.
Yeah, I think if I look at Pamela's questions, I think the ones she got were passed on were the sort that actually she probably knew deep down, and therefore you have that little moment of, oh, I can't get it, oh, pass, rather than if you don't know it, you could think more clearly. But I think with her, it was the early day motions. So an EDM, I think in a pub quiz, you sit there and you think about the spruce goose. I think that's another one. A rhyming word for at some point that comes to you, but in the sea, I wouldn't have expected her to know Balboa, for example, for first guy to spot the Pacific, or first conquistador to spot the Pacific. But yeah, I think the ones she passed on, I can kind of see why she did, but it cost her. So a very good win for Scott, and we get to see him again, and I think his general knowledge gives us cause to believe that he is actually a very, very solid, good quizzer if he can nail his specialist subject. So now let's look at what all of this means for the predictions competition. Michael McPartland, Pam Douglas were our top scorers this week with 4 points each. Subject to audit and protest, we think we got it right. 3 points for Ken McKenzie, 2 for Chris Dyson and Emma Napier. Emma Napa, sorry. 1 point for Huang Yi, Philip Isaac, Steve Oldham, Toby Atala, and Tom Mead. So what that means for the table is this: Ed Mason, you are top. Ed, you have you in that tussle with Philip. There's only 1 point between you, but now looking back behind you, equal third. Emma and Pam are on your tail. Michael's good week helps him to start to move within range of third place. And yeah, people are generally kind of still in the hunt with a lot of episodes to go. Pam saying 4. You never know what you scored, Pam. We could tell you anything, and you'd believe us. Good result for ATQ chatters indeed. So yes, well done to all of you. Next week's topics are the poetry of Dame Caroline Duffy, the League of Gentlemen, Nigel Mansell, and Rene Magritte. 4 subjects that you wouldn't necessarily pair together. Nigel Mansell and Rene Magritte.
Similar men.
Sorry?
Very similar men.
Well, indeed, many ways. Did
Magritte have a mustache?
I don't know. But I can see Nigel Mansell in a bowler hat with an apple. Again, an eclectic mix. Also, quite a number of good. You could start to see some predictable guesses with all of those. Pam's getting excited. Ooh, Nigel Mansell. So yes, so get your predictions. It doesn't matter if you've not been playing up till now. Get your predictions into tinyurl.com/mm-predict-23 because it just gives you some skin in the game when you're watching the specialist subjects, when you might otherwise not be that interested in them. This gives you something to be interested about. So and of course, if you are in the hunt for winning, then you're going to be looking at this very seriously. You're going to be thinking about René Magritte and pipes and bowler hats and apples and Nigel Mansell and his moustache and driving into the side of the. Oh, I'm getting the wind-up sign. Into the side of the course. I'm not going to give you the answers, but you're going to be thinking about all of that stuff. So let us move on from that. And before we look at University Challenge, let's just have a couple of quick videos. Huge thanks to our community of All Things Quiz members. Your support helps us to keep this channel going. It pays for essential running costs. Now, if you want to become a member of All Things Quiz, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/allthingsquiz. And from £3 a month, you not only get to support the work of this channel, but there are a range of member benefits available, including our monthly quiz. Hope to see you soon. And our monthly quiz last night was won by Andrew Fanko. Right, University Challenge, Lewis. This looked like being a very tight match at one point. Hertford and UCL were kind of neck and neck. And then UCL just put on the burners. It was... I mean, I don't know what you put it down to, really. Is it Dust had a really good night, didn't he?
I think Ali just took it to the next level. I think, did he early on get something wrong, and it just seemed after that he just went stratospheric and had a massive game. Whereas Hertford, they had some good answers and they were solid, but Keskin didn't match the levels that he was on in his last game. He was even maybe it was pressure, a bit of commentator's curse when. Amol bigged him up in his 8 starters, I think he got in the last round. He just didn't seem to be able to match it. And then it looked harder for Hertford for the rest of the game. They were getting things here and there. But there was a few desperate buzzers and a couple of negs. Whereas UCL just seemed solid, good on the bonuses. Not even, there was some discussion, but a lot of the time they just really seemed to know stuff. And they just got to it, and in the end, they sort of put an unbeatable scorer.
There was an interesting theme of UCL discussing 2 options and going for the wrong one. We've all been there. We know how agonising that feels, but it was
life.
Yeah, that zig and zag moment. I did like Saw the captain when she was trying to come up with a guess and it was diabolic. And I was like, my quizzing is diabolical. So I could see that, but no, they and then we had another Amol outburst with, "What are you guys listening to?" over the Calypso question. It feels to me that he has really settled into the role now. That he's feeling confident and comfortable enough to riff. He's not reliant on the cards, and he's not just kind of going, "Come on, teams," or "You're still in it," which is good, but he's finding his voice.
Definitely, I was about to say, I think he has a sense of his persona and what he brings to it, but also being a continuation of the 2 masters of it that did it before. And he seems a natural continuation. As we've said before, there's a great level of warmth that he brings, but he can have that bite. But it never seems hectoring, never seems rude. It always seems that he's doing it in a sense of fun. Which is what the main thing is. You want it to be enjoyable for these kids.
Were there any questions that you particularly liked over the course of the show?
I did like that Calypso one. I was sad they didn't get that. I also thought it was funny how one of them buzzed in and said reggae and then added ton at the end, just like even though that took them further away from the Caribbean. What else was there? I can't remember. It was a fine episode. There was just nothing. None of the pictures massively enthused me. I didn't like the music. That's mostly what I look forward to. But I thought the thing that really stuck with me today was just good team play from UCL.
No, I would agree with that. And there were some nice bonus sets, but nothing. I've seen the anatomy lesson and Nicholas Tolp like it, but the classical music.
Was it the very first question that was a real classic. I think we've all been there at buzzer quizzes when we're talking about an ancient poet. Says she, Buzz Sappho.
Sappho, yes.
Yeah. That was a nice classic quizzes moment, I thought. But yeah, it was another good solid episode. And I'm really enjoying this series. I think it's been a real triumph.
It has. So all that remains for us now is to look at what's happened in the world of quiz in the last week. And here we go. So I have reorganized how I do the sheet a little bit. So firstly, quiz of the week was Sean Webb for his win or not win. He's topping the stats in the OQL buzzer quiz. Well done, Sean. Emma had a fantastic performance in the OQL Cup. And Ollie Hansen, he won Mastermind last week. So well done to all three of those. Quiz Bowl Cabal, who won the OQL buzzer quiz, they predictably perhaps came first, beating Lewis, your video nasties in second. But perhaps you can kind of...
I understand it. They're very
good. Yeah. Matonga Mandram, the winners of the Asian Quiz League, were third. So this week's star performers and all sorts of things have been happening in Australia last weekend. It was the Australian State Championships. So David Morgan was a champion in New South Wales. Aaron Mohan, one of our All Things Quiz members, he won in Western Australia, and Adam Yearsley won in South Australia. In the world of broadcast quizzing, I forgot to put in Scott Torrance, Mastermind winner. So we saw that. Interesting story broke today about Arta Baranowski in the Polish equivalent of 15 to 1. He got a record score, so he is he got 803 points. So if it's like
that, is it a perfect score?
It is the perfect score.
Wow.
So he basically retained all his lives through the first 2 rounds, and then they have 20 points a question. He took all 40 questions and got the perfect score. The first time in 29 years that anybody has done that in Poland. And then his car broke down en route to the final, and they didn't allow him to compete.
No way!
So there you go, Arta. Unlucky, but brilliant performance. And one of our very first videos on All Things Quiz was the Bill McCaig 433 challenge, where we got quizzes to play Bill McCaig's questions. He got the maximum score here in the UK version. The winner of that was Michael McPartland. So check that out if you want to see. There's a play-along version if you want to see how you would have done against Bill McCaig's questions. George Scratchard won Brain of Britain's semi-final 4 today, and he also got 6 out of 8 in QLL President's Cup at the weekend. So George, another one of our All Things Quiz members, he gets a nomination. And Cao Yuji won Heat 9 of the Chinese National Treasures Quiz. On to quiz leagues, and Scott Blish, he is a Mimir monster at the moment. He got 15 out of 15 in the International Culture Challenge, and he's qualified for the Pop Solos Tier 1 final in America. He is on fire right now.
Massive.
In Mimir's.
So massive, yeah. He just can't seem to do anything wrong at the moment. It's an incredible run he's been on this year.
Yeah, brilliant. Jasmine Leonas got 2 people wrote in from America to nominate her. First woman to make the Pop Solos Tier 1 final. So well done to her. In Pop Solos last week, Jason Stalacci, Ben McIntyre both got 14 out of 15. In an online quiz league, Andrew Fanco, not only did he win the All Things Quiz Members Quiz, he got a full house, as did Evan Lynch and Katie Andrews. In Quiz League of London, Thomas Williams out of 8 and the highest overall score. So those are our individual nominees. The team nominees, again, Australian State Championships. David Morgan and Gordon McGregor won the New South Wales pairs. Aniket Casigwale, Pravin Varma and Bruce Flaherty won the New South Wales Team Championship. Doug Wilson, Raymond Palermo, Western Australian pairs. Aaron Mohan, Tamara Kadina and Troy Kumpsey, Western Australia Team captains. Obviously, broadcast quizzing, we saw it earlier. Isotopes won Only Connect. University College London won University Challenge. And in quiz leagues and other things, Fit for Purpose beat QLL's Division 1 leaders. And I've miswritten this. Lucky Dip won by 15 points in the OQL Cup, the John Jacob Cup. Now, because of the handicaps, doesn't matter where you are in the tables, you should get roughly the same score according to the handicaps. So to win by 15 points is a mark of a...
Particularly the handicapping has seemed to have been extremely strong, and most things are very tight games. That a 15-point win is huge.
I think we were four divisions, or we were Division 1. The team we played this week was Division 4, and there was 1 point between us. The handicapping was bang on.
Really good.
So you can now vote at tinyurl.com/QW27nov23 for those. And don't forget, you can also nominate anybody for next week's nominations. Plenty of things to sign up for. Fundesliga starts 4th of December. Arcadia is a Quiz Bowl tournament in London, 9th of December. Look out for UK Quiz Bowl's Facebook and webpage on that. Quiz in the North, 9th of December as well, in Wakefield, if you like written quiz and some casual team quiz in the afternoon. Pop Culture Challenge is starting up again.
Already? It's crazy.
29th of January it starts. I think it's open for applications now. So
it is.
quizcentral.net if you want to play that. And the Chinese Poetry Quiz is now open to all comers. Deadline is 1st of January. Scan that QR code. And basically all of our links are at the link tree address you can see below, or you can go to allthingsquiz.com, particularly if you want to see the results of various competitions. And of course, there's our newsletter as well you can sign up for, which we send out every Tuesday. And a reminder, tinyurl.com/ATQ nominations if you want to send nominees in. So close. Oh, I'm getting a round of applause. This isn't
well
bad.
deserved.
1 minute over.
I mean, it was nearly 1 minute 28 over, but now it's gone longer. Thanks to that intervention by Valerie. Yeah, it's been a sharper week this week. We don't know who. We don't know who we're going to be talking to next week. And
is it is it Brain of Britain final next week?
It is Brain of Britain grand final.
So
and as I know all 4 of the finalists,
we hope you get them on.
I'll be doing my best to try and get at least the winner. But we'll see. So we'll try and get some finalists, and obviously we'll be trying our best to get competitors from the other shows. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks to our guests today. Been great to have Kate, Sanjay, and Matilda. Lewis, as ever, good to have you with us. Don't forget to vote for Quiz Team of the Week at tinyurl.com/QW27nov23, or what's the question at tinyurl.com/WITQ Edinburgh. You know how all that works by now. We will be back next week, and look out for more clips and stuff. Oh, and don't forget to send in your nominations for the World Quiz Awards 2023. If you think somebody should be recognized, get it in there. Don't rely on somebody else. Until next week, from myself and Lewis, we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.